Welcome back. We're here with Lauren, who is a client success manager at Masters of Fate. Lauren, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here with you, Easton. We've been vibing online for
Yes.
years now, and I'm just so excited to connect with you and your community and share as much as I can during our time together.
Yes, it's nice to finally, collab and do something. Like you said, we've been talking and friends for probably 4+ years now. So, it's nice to finally collab and do something together. So you join Andrew's team at Masters of Fate around a year ago. What prompted you to make this choice?
Whew, this is such an interesting question because I have been a solopreneur, an entrepreneur for over 5 years. I entered the entrepreneurial space after I had been in the event production world and the restaurant industry for many years. Physical labor, having to be on site. And I said to myself, there's people working online and making money online. Why am I not doing that? Now, a little context for you. I'm a 5 time college dropout, don't have a formal education. I'm also an elder millennial, so I did not grow up with technology. I took my first computer class when I was 18 years old in high school. I remember the teacher saying, let me tell you about this thing called Google.com. And then I didn't go to college. So for me, many years later, in my early 30s, to make the decision to learn how to make money online was truly a big deal. But I knew I needed to do it in order to sustain my life because the physical labor that I was doing was not something that I could carry out for the rest of my life. So I went all in my early 30s on learning how to create online revenue streams, sales funnels, courses, programs, you name it. And I'm really proud to share that I had my own business for many years. I helped female entrepreneurs start their online business, scale their business, and then hit numbers between 10 and 30K per month. I made a really interesting decision earlier this year when I said to myself, I need to make a massive leap in my career. And I need to do it by becoming an employee rather than an entrepreneur. And I know for so many people that seems backwards
Yeah.
because why would you go being an entrepreneur to an employee?
Yeah.
But here's the thing, I realized that I had capped out on where I was as an entrepreneur. The knowledge I knew, the expertise that I had, I was I was at the top of what I could do on my own. So I went through my network and I said, who has done something incredible that I've been following for years that has integrity, who has grit, who shows up authentically? And there was one person that came to mind, and his name is Andrew Cruzy. We had been connected online for many years. I saw him do something that I think he's the only one in the coaching space to have done this. He scaled his business and then he sold his business. And it was a huge deal in the coaching industry. He took 2 years off because he had a non compete. Then he started Masters of Fate about a year and a half to 2 years ago. And as soon as I saw him start that business, I dove into his free community, started getting in all of the trainings because I said, Andrew's up to something and I want to be a part of it at whatever capacity. I went through a lot of life changes in the last year, which was another reason why I said I need to take my entrepreneur hat off because we all know as an entrepreneur, it is a certain type of brain power that you're using. We really don't turn off. And I needed to be able to give my brain a rest after being in that world for over 5 years. Reached out to Andrew and he said, guess what, Lauren? I'm actually in the city that you live in right now. And although we had been connected for over 5 years online, it was the first time meeting in person. We met in person, me, him, his girlfriend, who also works for the company. We hit it off, we vibed. He ended up onboarding me in less than a week. And I've been with him for several months now as a client success manager. So, what we do at Masters of Fate is we help our clients scale their businesses to 7 figures in profit per year. And with Andrew's extensive history of what he's done over the last years, he's helped thousands of clients hit 6 figures or more a year. He's hit he's worked with hundreds of clients to have them hit seven figures, and then a handful of clients hit eight figures. So what I
Wow.
do on a day-to-day basis is really, really cool. I coach one-on-one calls, group coaching calls. Today is Thursday, so what I do on Thursday is I do client audits. I go through their YouTube channels, their Facebooks, their Instagrams. I give them feedback on their offers, just anything that I need to do to make sure that our clients are getting results.
And what is it about helping business owners that excites you the most?
Oh, Easton, I love this question because here's the thing. The business world has changed so much in the last 5 to 10 years. Before we know what the business world looked like, it was very corporate, cookie cutter. There was only certain demographics in the world that had access to information, access to become a business owner. But with the change of technology, access to information, it's now available to so many more people. And on top of that, with the changes of technology, social media, brand deals, course creation, programs, if you have internet access and you have mentors and people guiding you, you can start a business. And what makes me so passionate about it is with my history of being in the coaching space for over 5 years, I have seen people transform their lives, their families' lives, their communities' lives. All of the clients that I worked with in the past with my business were heart centered people who always had a component to their business where they were giving back. And same at Masters of Fate. We have a lot of give back situations happening for charities that we're involved in, and so do our clients as well. So when you really look at it from the standpoint of how a regular person with a dream can now start a business online and change their entire family's trajectory, that to me is everything. I come from an immigrant family. My mom's an immigrant from Japan. I didn't grow up with this type of information or knowledge. It was go to college, get a job. Those are your options. And I rebelled against that. I didn't do any of that stuff. Again, college dropout. So for me, I'm the underdog. And I relate to the other underdogs that have been in my ecosystem. And I want to do everything in my power to share my skills, expertise, knowledge, network so that more people can make these massive changes in their lives, because the ripple effect that it has, truly, not to sound cheesy, but can be world changing.
Yes, and I love your passion to help because I feel like a lot of just business like etiquette in general is very cutthroat and very dry nowadays. So I really love your passion. I actually want to help, actually see a change, not just be there for the money. And for a business owner, when do they know or how do they know when it's time to start delegating?
Ooh, such a good question. Here's the thing. There are so many hats that we need to wear as a small business owner. Come on, we're doing everything. We're marketing, we're HR, we're customer service, all the things, all the stuff. I highly recommend anyone in their business to make a list of things right now. What can I delegate? What can I optimize? What can I eliminate? And for that delegation list, even if right now funds are tight in your business, figure it out how you can start to get some things off of your plate. Because the second that you do that and you free yourself of tasks that you don't actually excel at, your business is going to start to flourish in another way because you're in your zone of genius. The other thing is, as a business owner, you sometimes need to take the financial hits where you don't actually make some money those months as you're growing your business. But guess what? You're employing somebody else and they're allowing your business to propel forward. And it's only a few months of this kind of limbo while you're figuring things out. It's the growth process. So as soon as you can start delegating, and a great hot tip for you on this, reach out to your local colleges. There's usually a professor that's in charge of internships. Get an intern. Get an intern. Also, reach out to your community. and let people know I'm looking to bring someone on only for 10 hours a week. 10 hours a week can make a massive difference for you, again, to be in your zone of genius and then allow them to do the things that they're very good at.
I like, and the internship is a gem, that I think finding, you know, like, like you said, allowing yourself to be in a place where you're doing the things that you're not only good at, but you want to do, because then that fuels you to actually want to be there, showing up and actually doing the things that'll drive sales, drive business, things like that. And if someone is already doing, let's say, $5,000 a month and they want to get to 10,000 or $20,000 a month, what can they do today to start that process?
You need to look at your offer. What is your offer? Is your offer crystal clear on what your big promise is, what the result of your offer is? Do an audit of your offer. The person on the other end needs to know what the big result is. And then from there, it's content, conversations, book a call, sign a client. It is very simple. Once you have that offer created, and guess what? You don't need to create a sales funnel. You don't need to create a website. You know what we do in our company? We use a shitty Google document. I'm serious. That is what we present to people on our sales call is a one sheet Google document that runs them through the basics of what they need to know and the outcome that they're going to get, the big promise. And how do they find us? Through content creation. The content that we put out is specific content that generates conversations in the DMs. And then next thing you know, book a call, have a conversation. Where are you at? This is where we're at. Are we a good fit? Let's work together. It doesn't have to be complicated. Keep it as simple as possible when you're first starting this journey. So, to recap that, offer crystal clear, what's the big promise? Pumping out content, starting conversations, booking calls. That's it.
I like that. And I like how you make it super simple. Like I feel like a lot of people they overcomplicate it, especially people that are starting their business. They like overcomplicate a lot of things. And you mentioned also earlier that you transitioned from owning your own business for many years to now working for someone else. Was there any shame or guilt going back to actually being an employee?
Such a great question again, because there was so much that came up with that. It was one of those situations where, again, I knew I needed to grow and I needed to expand my network and I needed to work for someone who had achieved something that I haven't achieved before. With that being said, there's also the ego that comes in. I have been known for being an entrepreneur for over 5 years. I was a owner at a restaurant in San Diego. I had my coaching business. I also have a couple side hustles. Like, people know Lauren Turton as a business owner. So for me to come out a couple months ago and say, I'm now becoming an employee. Oh yeah, I had people reaching out to me and being like, what's going on? What's happening? But I knew inside that that was the right move for me. And I'm telling you what, Easton, I am thriving in a much different way than I was before. And the reason why is because I'm not having to wear all the hats anymore. And I am working for a founder who believes in me and empowers me. So that is something that I think is really important for any entrepreneurs who are out there who might be thinking of doing something like this. You need to take your time, you need to do your research, and you need to make sure that whoever you end up making this move with is somebody who truly sees you as a person, values you as a person, and it's somebody that you can grow with. That's the other thing. I'm on a path with Andrew to really grow with this business, and I'm here for the long term with it.
I like that. And I like how you said, I need to make a change. It's gonna be brutal. And it's not gonna be comfortable. And you said we're gonna change it because it's for the better. And to kind of switch gears to go a little personal, on top of all the content that you've created, you also modeled for a perfume company back in 2014. What was the most valuable lesson you've learned when presenting yourself on camera?
Oh my gosh, Easton, this is Such a good question because video content is so, so important. And I'm going to take everyone through a little bit of a history of social media so that we kind of understand from a psychological standpoint how social media has grown and changed over the years. So if you think back to like 2015 to like, I would say 2020, that was very much the boss babe era where everything on social media had to be perfect. I remember back then I was hiring professional photographers to take very curated, perfect photos of me and to present to the world in that way. I don't regret doing that, but obviously I look back on it and I think, oh my gosh, was that authentic? Was that real? No, but it was also the trend at the time. So I was keeping up with the trends. Then enter TikTok, where Gen Z came onto TikTok and they showed us a different type of content creation. They weren't a part of that boss babe era. They also grew up very different from us. Elder millennials and above, we were taught not to show our flaws, to always be presented in certain ways. We don't talk about politics, religion, or money. So I know for me, once seeing Gen Z on TikTok and how they were showing up crying and in these angles from like down here, I was like, what? They're showing their chins? Like we would never do that. We always show from up here. So I had to do a lot of unlearning in regards to content creation and showing up online. And now I feel like I'm at a really good place where I've found topics that I can really get authentic about, dive deep into, and going into that space has truly allowed me to create connections around the world that have blown my mind because I have opened up about certain topics. And so content creation for me, again, it's changed my life. It's opened me up to the world. And just like a cool little story with content creation for everyone to remember, never chase the vanity metrics, never get down on yourself if people are not liking or not commenting, because guess what? People are watching. I had someone reach out to me about 2 years ago who I had met at an event that I used to put on in San Diego. Lauren, I've been watching your journey on LinkedIn for 10 years. I have an interesting opportunity for you. Can you get on a call with me? Never liked, never commented for 10 years. And when I got on the call with him, he's like, oh, yeah, I remember when you did this and you were doing this and you were doing this. And it's just been so cool to see your growth over the years. And I was like, what? No comment, no likes. The other example I'll give is I recently signed a client into our sisterhood. We have a mastermind for women in business to help them scale to 30K per month. Oleana used to be in my programs years ago. No communication for 2 years, nothing. Next thing I know, in my DMs, hey, Lauren, how are you? I'm ready to work with you. Signed her as a client like that. So, content creation, showing up online really is the long game. It's building community, it's building connections. I say this all the time. It's called social media. So, let's keep it social.
Yes, and I think that's probably the thing I've realized most as well is people are always watching. They're always seeing what you're doing, especially if they're not liking, especially if they're not commenting. I mean, I have things all the time like that as well where people come up to me and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I saw your content. You're doing this," and it shocked me. And I feel like a lot of people, like you said, they get stuck in that vanity metric, and it's like 200 views. That's 200 people seeing your content. That's a lot of people if they were in a room. So I think, like getting in that space is important where like I'm posting for me, I'm posting content I like. And you also mentioned photography and you also kind of started your journey on it back in 2010, which sometimes involved a rabbit mask. Could you give a backstory on that?
Yes, I love this story. I'm so happy you asked this. I didn't expect this question. So, in my college dropout years in my early 20s, I did decide to go to a community college night program in Dayton, Ohio. I was like, I got to do something at school. What do I like? Well, I've always had a camera around, so I'm going to do the photography program. I get into the program, and it's a film program. And our professor, he was brilliant. He's teaching us everything in the program. And he finally calls me out and he's like, Lauren, I'll be honest. He's like, you're not excelling in this program to the level that I know that you can excel. I'm going to teach you about self portrait photographers. And I was like, okay, what's that? He's like, there are people who take photos of themselves. They'll set up a tripod like from a distance, they'll set a timer, and they'll take pictures of themselves. I think this is something that you could get into. And I was like, no, okay, I'll give it a try. I had access to an abandoned building in downtown Dayton, Ohio, where my buddy was throwing raves. And I was like, Tony, can I go to the spot? And he was like, yeah, it's not like really safe or nice, but sure, you can go there. So I take a friend there and I start getting these really cool low lighting photos of myself. I take them back to my professor, and he was like, we can take this further, go further. And I was like, okay. So I go to a Halloween store, and they have all of the masks at the top of the store. And I look and I see a rabbit mask, big ears. And I said, those ears are going to stick out in the photos. So then I went back to the warehouse. I shot a series called Find the Hare, Hare, like a rabbit. And I went back to my professor, presenting him with 12 photos, and he said, this is it. Keep doing this. Keep taking these photos. So, this project I've been doing for over 10 years now. I go through different phases where I shoot new series sometimes. I also go through phases where I might not shoot for a year or so. I did a pretty big run when I lived in San Diego where I was showing my work often. I even started a little clothing line with it. And for me, it is a passion project to express an alter ego of myself in unique situations and settings. And it's actually what got me into the NFT space because I saw what the NFT and crypto
Yeah.
space was doing for artists, and I said, "Oh, that's pretty cool. I want to try seeing what I can do in there." And I actually made like some pretty decent sales to some collectors in that world.
That's interesting. And it's that stuff that's very it's very different, like that people just, like different ways that they express themselves. So it's really, really cool, kind of found that way of like, wow, but this is a very interesting way. It's different, but it's for me. And you're also a very spiritual person. Do you think that you can be spiritual while also striving to be wealthy and rich?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let me give you a little context. I grew up in a very strict Pentecostal Assemblies of God church. I come from a family of missionaries, actually. That's why I'm part Japanese, because my family were missionaries in Japan. And so growing up, I had this interesting upbringing of Japanese culture, but also strict Christian upbringing. And I started to realize in my later teen years that I wasn't resonating with some of the things happening in our church. And so I got away from that for many years. And in my, I would say, early 30s, I started to explore again religion, spirituality. What does this all mean for me? How can I relate to it? Because I did have religious trauma from the way that I grew up. And now where I'm at with it is I am a firm believer in, a higher source, higher power. Obviously, there's more going on in this world than what meets the eye. And with that being said, I tap into praying, meditation, those types of things to help myself get centered and grounded and connect. And one of the biggest things that I've had to unlearn as an adult is my relationship with money. I come from an immigrant family. I told you, my mom's from
Yeah.
Japan. And most immigrant families, we grow up in a certain way in regards to being very frugal, very tight with money. And my relationship with money over the years, honestly, has been very, very turbulent. I've gone through many, many hard times with not being able to manage money properly. I've gotten myself into credit card debt, all because I wasn't educated and I didn't know. I didn't grow up with that stuff. And so now the understanding that I have with money is that money is a tool. And money is a tool that allows us to do more things. Just like when you have a regular toolbox and you have more tools in the toolbox, you can do more construction projects. So for me, with money, it is a tool. And so it's interesting because on my social media, I talk about money, especially with the results that we're getting our clients.
Yeah.
We have clients that are hitting numbers like 100K a month, 200K a month. I actually had someone yesterday be like, I find your content triggering. And I was like, it's triggering because I'm talking about money. And most likely, you might not be making a lot of money in your business. Therefore, this is triggering. And I think it's important to talk about money because, again, when we come down to it, it is a tool. And when money is used in the right way, that tool is used in the right way, it can help so many people, your immediate loved ones, your community, and then worldwide events that are happening. And so that's another reason why I'm so passionate about helping our clients reach their financial goals because we go through an interview process with our clients. We don't just accept anyone. These are heart centered people who want to make a difference for their lives and their families' lives. They're truly changing their entire ecosystem. And they're coming from families who usually don't have money. So I love talking about it.
Yes. Yes. I have two more questions.
Okay.
If you could have dinner with two people, one person from the past and one person from the present, who would it be and why?
Lady Gaga. I need to meet her. I need to have a conversation with her. When you look at the history of what Lady Gaga has done in regards to her career, absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. From starting off in singing in little dive bars, and you watch these old clips of her and the passion that she had back then, showing up in crazy outfits and performing, and then to grow into what she has accomplished today. Also, she's very, very passionate about helping marginalized groups, which I also align with. I've seen her perform before in Las Vegas, and she's just an incredible performer, an incredible human. I actually have it on my wish list, my dream list, my manifestation list, whatever you want to call it, that I will meet Lady Gaga one day and have a conversation with her. Now, in regards to someone from the past, oh, I haven't thought about this one. You know who I'm actually going to say, because it's the first person that came up, is my great Japanese grandmother. So I'm so blessed that all four of my grandparents are still alive. I have a close relationship with them. My grandma, Tedeko, she's from Japan, and her mother had 12 children. I would love to have been able to meet my great grandma and just to hear about her life in Japan in that time frame. My family actually has history of samurai, so I would love to know about more of my family history from my great grandma.
I have one more question.
Okay.
Why did you decide to partner with us and offer the discounts?
Oh, Easton, I decided to partner with you and offer the discounts because one of the things that's important for me in business in regards to partnerships and relationships is the long game. And you and I have been connecting online for years now and keeping up with each other. And that to me is super, super important. I know that you genuinely care about me. I care about you and whatever you're building, I believe in. And I want to be able to provide what we have going on here at Masters of Faith to your community as well, so that we can help them start their businesses, grow their businesses. One thing I want to clarify on, I threw out some crazy numbers earlier in regards to the fact that we help our clients scale to 7 figures in profit per year. We also have a program specifically for people who are just starting out where we get them to 30K a month in 90 days. So we have several options based on wherever you're at in your business. So for me, partnering with you is because it's you. I
Yeah.
believe in you.
Thank you. I appreciate the kind words. I do. That's all the questions I have. How can people find you, and what is one thing you want to leave people with?
The one thing that I want to leave people with is take imperfect action. Don't wait to make decisions. Make a decision. It could be a bad decision, and then you learn from it. or it could be the good right decision, and boom, you're on the track to do that. In the entrepreneurial world, the entrepreneurs who make moves are making moves, which means making decisions. If you're sitting there thinking on things too long, you're wasting time. I need you to be taking imperfect action and then learning from that imperfect action. And then I would love to invite all of you to the Seven Figure Coaches community. I'll have Easton drop a link for that. We have a library of extensive trainings in there. You'll have access to me. I have a direct message on there that you can send me any questions, and I can get you started on any trainings that are going to help you based on where you're at with your business right now. Again, I'm the client success manager for this company, so I'm all up in there every day. I also offer audits, giving feedback. It's whatever you need. We're here to support you. And then we also do a live weekly call every Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So you're also getting live support as well.
I love that. Well, Lauren, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. A very good conversation. And like I said in the beginning, it's just exciting to, collaborate and do things with you. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Easton.